Alrighty, so what are we doing today? What are we doing today, lads? Jersey wants me to play Farming with Friends, which we've been on the grind for like 2 days now. So I don't really know what I want to do right now. I need some ideas. People are always gonna say tower ladder, but no. That is physical pain. Oh, the Pokemon Tower. Farming with Friends, there's another one from Rem. I don't know why it won't let me add the slideshow to this part. I want that Poggers Epic slideshow on this important announcement thing. But no, it's being retarded. I might not be able to edit anything on OBS when I'm streaming. That sucks. Monty hasn't been on stream yet. Well, I still gotta add the new one into the game. So maybe I'll start with that, and then we can figure out something better to do. I'm pretty hype with the new updates to the game for the upcoming version of Alpha 1.1. There's still some more stuff that I would like to add for this update, though. So I don't really know what it is that we want to work on just to improve the quality of life for civilian players. So let me know some ideas in the stream chat. Alright, I gotta go to my DMs with Nico and check out the Monty. I'm just waiting for the studio to load. But until then, I will. Does the Nico, does the fleet build have the Monty in it, or do I have to go to the other file? Check out the new skybox. Alright, let's check it out. I have downloaded Nico's Monty, so I just gotta add it into the map. DNN. Just waiting on all the meshes to load. I don't think, yeah, the map hasn't fully loaded in yet. There's the car. Yeah, I just want the Monty. So I can move it over to 6th Avenue's news building. I just gotta figure out where I put the other one. Show us how to make GUIs. Yeah, I can do I was thinking about doing like a mini tutorial during a stream, but I don't know how you guys would like that. But if you have any like major questions as I'm going through something, I could explain it better on the stream. I've just got to do some updates to the Monty itself too, to prevent people from stealing it. So don't drive it around. What is going on, Mystic and Derbyshire emergency photos? Alright, that goes in that folder, and then that we will check later on. Well, either way, Nico, I just put the despawn system that the other cars have, so that way, if you're not in the server, it will automatically go away from the game after 10 minutes of idling. Got that new Empire State Building. Still needs a lot of window placement, which would be really annoying. I have to reference a lot of real life references. I have to look at a lot of real life pictures and get all the window placements and all that. Not fun, but must be done. I think I might know something that I can start right now. Gonna start working on some interior lighting for the station using my videos. What's going on, King? Desired chalky milk. Yeah, all the people who are on with Farming Friends want me to play that over the stream. The fact that Poke's Mega PC is getting low frame rate makes my love my potato of a computer even more. Yeah, it's cranking right now. It probably just needs to be cleaned. Just get used for constant hours every day, so it probably picks up a lot of dust. Also, if anybody has the text plugin on the development team, on the SoNY development team, if you have the text plugin, can you send me this font, but the number 8 and 2? Because I want to do the text on the Engine 8 Ladder 2 Battalion 8 station. Alright, so something like that for the light? Let's see how this looks when you put it on the ceiling. That's not bad, actually. It's called 3D Text, the plugin. I might have it, I don't know. Do I have it? No? I know it's a plugin, but I don't feel like getting it, so I have the people that do have the plugin do it. Because normally I don't do the normally I don't use text plugins. I'm more likely to use decals or manually make the text like I did on the NYPD substation over here. Like this is all handmade by me on the text. But at least to make the firehouses more consistent, I would like to see the numbers from here over there. Alright, so maybe with a little bit longer of a light fixture, this could work pretty well. Now I need to put the trucks in here. So that I can get a better idea of where the lights need to go. Alright, cool, that light is facing the correct way. Shut up, Toronto. Alright, so this goes over the ladder, slightly in a bit more. Now, is there a gap between the ceiling? No, we're good. Okay, perfect. Now let me group this. Alright, and then there is another one over the engine, sort of on this side. And these are behind the garage door when it's open, so these might need to go out further. I have a video of ladder 169 running over a curb against traffic like a legit boss. How do you live stream a game on YouTube? Screen recording. Especially for Switch games, I actually have a capture card that costed me like $70 to get. So that essentially that routes the HDMI cable through that to intercept the video feed and send it to my computer. But regular PC games are relatively easy, especially if you have OBS. I think there's another light on the opposite side. Just got to pan up with the camera a bit more. Alright, there's one behind the trucks. I can see the reflection of it on the ladder 4. Yeah, it's way behind the garage door when it's open. Yeah, they don't have a lot of lighting inside of that firehouse then. And then it's like midway on the truck. I think those are the first lights. It should be like here. And there's smaller lights in the back. Okay, so there's these lights, and then there's more between the truck and the wall. Been meaning to ask about Nintendo, yeah. Yeah, the Nintendo Switch recording is a bit annoying, and it's a bit slow. If you notice that, like, my OBS streams, or my Nintendo Switch gameplay streams are a bit laggy when it comes to, like, my reactions to things, or at least my reaction and then the game. There's a small delay, but that's because it has to intercept the feed to go to my computer. I'm definitely going to have to increase the range on the lights to go farther. That's relatively easy to do. So there's like a smaller light up by the cab, which would be like here. And then the next set of lights would be moved back then. Better lighting inside of the firehouse. Face reveal when I know everybody in the Discord general was doing a face reveal. I was tempted, but we got to increase the channel support in order for that to happen. I know you guys can do it. Yeah, don't mind the weird shadows with the lights. That's only because that the light part that's on the ceiling right now, that's actually lighting up the station originally, is there. So don't mind any of that. That's gonna go away as soon as I finish. All right, 1936.15. Wait, what? No, this is on X. Okay. 483. Pull up a calculator real quick. 22.3. There we go. There doesn't appear to be any lights directly above the battalion that I can see because they're blocked by the flag that they have. It might be behind it, or maybe they don't have any lighting there at all. The only problem is I don't want these stations to look like excessively dark. I want you to be able to see things, because right now they're not the greatest when it comes to the lighting. Alright, so I see the triple set of lights very well spaced out. So let me see here. I'm trying to match the angle. I'm missing a light. Can't wait for Linities and Pokes tape coming out. I mean, what? No, absolutely not. I'm just so confused as to where these lights are actually placed. I have several different angles, but they don't really line up as far as where the lights need to go. Alright, so if the garage door was open, there is a light very close to the front of the cab. Come on, autosave. In reality, I think the trucks would be parked way more forward than what they are here. So we can shift those up. I don't know if there's a light above this. There might be. I need to select these three lights. And shift them over a tad. Yeah, they need to be like just past the center of the door. Right about here-ish, slightly over. Yeah. Alright. 18.3. That might be way too close to the edge. Hey Poke, if Studio stops responding, press F5, it refreshes. Well, it's not really stop responding, it's just autosave. Alright, so now this is an 18 stud difference, and I'm going to move it over like 1 to 2. So now this is 16. There we go. And then there's more lights in the rear of the firehouse. So that's good. I will add those, but they're going different. They're going in horizontally, and they're also, I think, a little bit smaller than these ones. These ones are just like drop ceiling lights. I think they hang down from the ceiling. So it would be more like maybe a tad bit higher than that, something like that. And then they're suspended from there. I would have to go back and modify all of these to actually add the parts to make the ceiling lights look like they're hanging. So I don't really want to go about that. Personally, I like it on the ceiling. At least until we get more ceiling designs and do like a firehouse interior update. Now I gotta scroll through some of the blocks and find which ones have the lights that are currently there. Ooh, dramatic lighting. Spooky. So the station might be a little dark for a little bit, but I think this is sort of the lighting that I'm going to go for. What do you guys think? Didn't the old light? Yeah, it did light the entire station, but no, it wasn't good on the trucks. The trucks would come out all dark. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm just going to add a little bit more spacing between the lights. Alright, right about there. Lighting, lighting, lighting. Much needed. Alright, so there's another set. There we go. I don't see any lights over the battalion. What? I am confused. Oh, there's a single one. Oh, look at this shit. There's a single one like this. But then it's turned like that. And then that gets hidden under the garage door when it's open. Nice. Alright, I'm really liking the new lighting because it doesn't look terrible with the fire trucks like the old lighting, and it's actually going to light up the station very nicely. This room's going to be dark. I'm not overly worried about that because that comes with an interior update. Now the question is, what happens if we add shadows to all of these lights? Yikes. Yeah, that's not the greatest. Looks pretty cool with the fire trucks here, but not all parts of it. This actually lights up the station, which is what we want, but there's no shadows under the fire trucks. What the fuck kind of bullshit? Alright, which one are we going with? We got shadow, no shadow, modified shadow. I don't know really what I can do here, but we'll call this one modified shadow. 1.5 brightness. It doesn't really look too wonky, but still maintains the shadow. And Alright, 1.5 brightness, around 108 angle versus 180. It's pretty good. So what are we doing here? Brighter, darker, shadow, no shadow. I need some input. And I think this will look slightly different in the actual game itself because the lighting sort of gets changed as the game is played. And if we have a shadow, it doesn't come through the door. Versus if we don't, it does. I would say how it is looks good. Okay. Hmm. Poke not reading stream chat. Time to talk about how Rosenbarg. Man's tried to say Rosenbauer, but no. If you're gonna talk about it, at least say it correctly. So, firehouse interior lighting. So I'm gonna publish, and while that's publishing, zoom around the map. It's usually what I end up doing when I'm slightly bored. Typically trying to find just something small to work on. A little improvement. All these base plates are gonna go away. They're gonna get replaced. Eventually, when the highway is added onto, and then we can add more water. The highway is very annoying. It's very time consuming. Extremely boring too. And we're published. Okay. Loading, 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 load. Hmm. Pog. Alright, spawn in a taxi. It's still loading in slightly. It looks like Slick Top Taxi. The computer's like, why are you trying to run so many things at once? What the fuck? Yeah, it's not good to have Google tabs, stream, studio, and the game open at once. Alright, it's not bad. I like it. I like it. It's pretty good. Yeah, yeah. Definitely a change. I see the new reflections off of buildings from the skybox. It's way more improved, especially on the World Trade Center over there. Big difference. Alrighty. Oh yes. Yeah, I'm trying to run way too many things at once, which is why this is being slow. I got way too much stuff open on my computer. We also have a mini map that shows you what your location is. It's set up very similar to Emerge NYC, where you can zoom in and out with the magnifying glass buttons. You can drag it around to get an idea of where you are or where you want to go. So if somebody gives you a location, which is like a street, they say, hey, go over to um, between 8th Ave and 9th Ave, 77th Street. That's where Ladder 25 quarters is. That's the red dot right there. Boom. Why do you always stream at bad times? Trees. Oh yeah, the trees are back in Central Park as per springtime, and they're gonna get added here on the highway soon. And Brian is now poor, has been given the assignment of setting up Central Park's layout for SoNY. So we're going to base it off of real life, a little bit of Emerge NYC, and make the setup that way. I'm missing crosswalks in various places. I should look into that. It's nice how it's spring and already 82 degrees in NY. Oh yeah, there's like a warm wind going on today in the New York area, and it's going too. It's really going. They also have some new logos for the stores. I've finally gotten around to replacing what was Chick-fil-A with our parody logo, Chick-fil-E, and Pret-a-Porter rather than Pret-a-Manger, with a more stylized font to the real restaurant on 6th Avenue. We haven't gotten any new building submissions for the next update yet. I think there's like a building that still needs to be added, Poke's Pantry or something along those lines. And I really wanna mess around with adding the Times Square hum to this area. But I don't want it to overpower like the rest of the sound of the game, because it's sort of more of a background noise. So I don't really know how I want to set that up, and I need to find like a really good audio clip from YouTube. Chinatown and Ratatouille's Pizza Restaurant are being done by me. Alright, Nico. You know what I should do? I should add the call boxes to more street corners. Alright. I just gotta do some research on Google Maps real quick to make sure that I place them correctly. I made a 5-story building with the bottom floor having an interior pizza place, since you said there wasn't any building submission. Oh, thank you, Alex. Community contributions at work. Oh shit, nope. Alright, let's see what Alex has provided to us. Yep, pizza restaurant. Some simple chairs, nice lighting, textures for the designs, very nice. Alright, so where do we put this? Tony's Pizzeria, 195 34th Street. Okay. 34th is all the way down here. Let's see. The 100s are on the eastern side of the map. So 34th Street, closer to the eastern side of the map, would put us close to Central, close to the Empire State Building. So that would be like here. What am I gonna do? Because this would be East 34th right here if you pass 5th Avenue. So that would put it here because it's not closer to Times Square. So in that case, what I'm going to do is move the wall back, and we can add this somewhere over here. Let's see, this is 195? 195 East and West 34th Street. Hold up, I just lost it. The address isn't real, I just made it up, but you can change it. Okay. I genuinely think that this would go really well on one of these avenues. I just gotta find a spot that would match it. Hmm. Hmm. There's a construction spot and some smaller businesses. Ooh, NYU Health EMS. Pretty nice looking ambulance, I'll give them that. Alright. I think I'll go on the north side of 34th Street. You should make a store called Juan's Horses. Why would you be buying horses in the middle of New York City? Nobody does that. All right. Central Park horses. Even then, you don't like you only rent them out. They're just there, being like operated by companies, but you don't buy them in Central Park. You just rent them. All right, let's see how we can get this to work out. This building roof style sort of looks like one that I made for Hell's Kitchen in that area. Alright, how is the door? Gotta move the restaurant a little bit closer. I think I overshot that, so back a tad. And that should be lined up now. A little bit. Is tavern banned from being on a building? Preferably, it it would most likely be better if we didn't have any places that could violate TOS. I genuinely do not want to risk it. So we will call that off limits. I think I want to make a racing game. Alright, Nico. Nico's gonna make his Monty drags. So you can race the Monty. Because he wants to prove that it's a superior car. So lining it up is just the most annoying because I don't like to have gaps. Oh, come on. Studio died. I killed it. God damn it. Correction, moderation team and FAC. You guys already have a channel. Alright, we are back. So this needs to be resized just a bit. Is that lined up now? No, it is not. Good. So then our main block can go into place. Good, 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 and that is added. So I gotta change these to smooth plastic so that you can actually see into the restaurant. Roblox is wonky. I want to keep the pizza logo, but why? There we go. Pizza shop. Thank you to Alex FDNY for your submission into the map. Let me just do some naming for organization purposes. So this is 19534. What is going on to all the new people joining in? Alright, so studio. Alright, for GUI development, since people are looking for some information as to how the GUI can work. If you want a GUI that stays on the screen all the time, which is what I'm going to do a demonstration of right now. But actually I'm gonna start with a new studio so I don't mess anything up in the actual game. Alright. You want a GUI that's going to stay on the screen all the time. What do? Well, you go over here, start a GUI, go screen GUI. Okay, start a GUI, hit the plus button. Is the plus menu actually displaying? No. Alright, let me do this real quick. Alright. There we go. Clean studio. And now you will be able to see the studio screen. So now I'm going to start with GUI. So, starter GUI, if you want a GUI that goes on the screen all the time. And then screen GUI. Screen GUI is just the overall general thing that you need to put any GUI elements within. So screen GUI. Now there's going to recognize that there's going to be a GUI on my screen, and at the upper part here I get the UI development tab. From here, this will allow me to click on any one of these things to add another feature into my GUI. I can also do that through the plus menu over here. Oh shit. Right there. So I can go to frame, text button, text label, all that happy stuff. If you put in a frame, it essentially makes a box that has a background on your screen. And you'll notice that this will start off in the upper left corner. There are some position values over here in the Properties tab that you can change. So right now, there's two values for the X and Y coordinates on the screen. So there is the X, there's the X scale, and then there's the offset. The scale is essentially a portion of the viewer's screen, of the player's screen. So the scale can change where the GUI is based on what size the user's screen is. So keep that in mind. That is very important. You want your GUIs to look consistent across different screens. So this is the scale is a value that goes from 0 to 1, 0 being the left corner of the screen and 1 being the right corner of the screen. If I want to put the GUI in the middle, I have to set this to 0.5, but this is slightly off center because this is aligning the top left corner of my frame with the center of the screen instead of the actual center of the GUI itself. So I'm going to look at my size value, and the size value offset is 100, so I need half of that 100. Now I'm dead center with this GUI on the horizontal axis of the screen. Same thing for the vertical axis, the y-axis. You set this to 0.5, okay, and then you do half of your size. And now this is not in the center of my screen. Oh, negative 50. There we go. Now that's in the center of my screen. And you subtract half of the GUI. Boom. I'm going to make an FTY truck, but every part does every part need to be anchored or unanchored? That depends on what chassis you're using. Every chassis is in like the vehicle scripts are different. So, boom. You have a screen GUI with a frame in the middle. That's how you position your frame. You want to change the size. So you go down here and you have your pixel ratio and then your scale. Let's say I want my GUI to be half of the user's screen in width. You can do that by setting this to 0.5. If I wanted this to be 5 times the user screen width, you can set it to 5. Don't do that. That's not recommended. So if I set this to 0.5 and then set my position on the x-axis back to 0, you can see that this is going to take up half of my screen. So you can do a scale, or you can do a pixel ratio, essentially. So let me revert this back. So now we're back to our square. Alright, so your size value can be changed. So if I wanted this to be a rectangle, I'm going to set this to 200, but now it is not on center anymore. I've extended it towards the right. So remember, your position value, if you want this to be dead center on the screen, must subtract half of your GUI size. Now that I've upped the GUI size to 200 from 100, my position should subtract 100 instead of 50. Boom, now we're centered again. So, pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to make a second frame. And this one's going to be blue. So if I have 2 frames that are on the same level in my screen GUI in the Explorer tab over here, I want the white frame to come up above the blue frame. So how do we do this? Very simple and easy. I'm going to select my white frame. This is the white one that's underneath the blue one right now. And I can set this value called the Z index, which is basically like a level of layers as to what you want to write over something else. So if I set the Z index to a higher value, it will now write over the top of the Z index of 1, which the blue box is set to. And for size, if I wanted the blue box to be slightly larger than the white box, I can do this, and then I can center it out by taking half of the new size. Boom. Now I have a frame that overlays another frame. Really simple GUI development. The same thing applies to buttons and text labels. So if I add a text label, it's going to spawn in at the top left corner. However, you can also do this. If I wanted the text label to line itself up with the frame in the center, the white frame, I can take this, find my white frame, which I have selected here, and physically drag the text label inside of the frame on the Explorer tab. Now, the scale measurement will be the width and the height of the white box. So instead of doing a size that's based on pixels, I can do something like this. Now I set this to a scale of 1 on the width and 1 on the height, which is the max values, so it's going to fill in the entire portion of the white box. Boom, this is a text label. And we can up the font, or we can do text scaled, which will fill in the box, and text wrapped will keep it in the box. If text wrapped is not enabled, that means that the text can go outside of the box. If it is, then it will try and fit it as best it can. If it goes over, then you have to reduce the font size. Text scaled will automatically scale the text to a specific font size and keep it within inside the box limits by using the text wrapped checkbox. You can also change the alignment of the text. Let's say if you wanted it to be... Let's say if you wanted the text, instead of how it is centered here, if I wanted to line up in the top left corner, we can change the X and Y alignments down here. Boom, now it's aligned with the top left corner. So really, really, really simple, really easy. It's just a matter of placing it around the game. If you have experience with HTML or want to get experience with HTML, Roblox GUIs do give you a pretty good understanding of how that works. Or if you have HTML knowledge, you would have a pretty good understanding of how this works as well. And you can do a lot of really cool, pretty stuff by layering GUIs on top of each other. For example, the phone GUI that I demoed earlier with the minimap. Very, very good stuff. So text labels, a text button is essentially just a text label that you can click if you want to activate a certain function. Image buttons, same thing as an image label. So an image label would just be a static image that you would display on your GUI. And the image button would be a version of that you can click, that you could fill in with an image and click it. Now, you're going to have to look at the Roblox developer form if you want to know the functions for getting the scripting working. And keep in mind that every time that you have a GUI, it's not here. It is never here in the starter GUI when it is being used. If I play this game right now, the GUI that I just made will not be in starter GUI, at least the one that will appear on the screen. This is the one that I started with, that's assigned to starter GUI, that will give all the new players the GUI. However, if we go to players and then myplayer.player GUI, the screen GUI is now here. This is what I'm seeing on my end. This is all client-sided. If I want to disable the screen GUI on my end, I could do this locally or I could do the server side. Preferably for GUIs, you would do them locally because only the player will be able to see them because it is entirely within their player GUI. Other players will not be able to see the same GUI at the same time unless they have the same copy that is in their player GUI that you would have to update and share information between the two if you want to keep them consistent. It's very annoying, but you can do that. So if I want to disable the GUI, I would set the enabled checkbox to false within my player GUI, locally, preferably. Boom. Now it's gone. If I want to bring it back, enable. Or, if I wanted to hide the white box, specifically, I could change the visible checkbox within the properties of the white box to false. Now it's just the blue box. If I want to get rid of the blue box, I could do the same thing. And to bring it back, check it to true. Now, if you're doing this in a script, it's the exact same way. You have to identify the blue box. So this would be game.players.pocop1234.player.GUI. Remember, it is case sensitive. Spell it correctly. .screen.GUI. .frame. .visible equals true. However, this does not work in a script because I have two frame objects that are named the same thing. Do not do this if you're going to work with this on a script because it will not know which frame is the one that you're talking about. So this would be frame 1. And the other one could be frame 2. So that way you could say frame 1.visible is false. If I specified that in a script, it would do that. So the GUI design and layout element is probably the easiest part. The scripting is the most annoying because you have to do a bunch of functions that sort of repeat themselves a lot of the time. So You have to do like a click function for every single one of the buttons that you have if you want to make them work. But you can do a lot of really cool stuff with GUIs. I think the longest part is probably doing the layout and making it look nice. And then the annoying part is the actual scripting. But overall, you can do a lot of really cool stuff. So that was your general screen GUI tutorial and GUI development tutorial, at least for the layout portion of it. And then I can get more into detail with the scripts when I'm more prepared for that. I wonder if you can make Mac engines, tower ladders, battalion chiefs from the 1970s. No, I'm not going to be doing that because they are not in service at this time, and SoNY is based on the present day, and they're not really allowed to use those 1970s Macs anymore. Just joined. So what are we doing? Well, I just finished giving a GUI development tutorial since people were asking for it. I honestly don't know what we're streaming. I'm just doing a bunch of random stuff and talking with you guys if you have any questions or anything like that. I'm going to make engine 10. Which chassis do you use, Poke? I use A chassis. A chassis. Let me go into the toolbox real quick and pull up a chassis car. Alright, what do we got? Okay. I don't know how you make fire trucks. So detailed. I'm a Roblox builder, but can't build cars. Okay. So A chassis you could literally find off of any car, especially one that username the Ford Interceptor has uploaded recently. This is a car that is definitely on A chassis. Alright, I don't care about the bloom settings, but in this case, we have a car. Now, on A chassis, you're going to have a drive seat, the tune script, which is the main module that actually gets the scripting working. And you have 3 categories: body, miscellaneous, and wheels. The body of the car consists of all of the non-functioning elements that are not useful to the car itself in order for it to drive. If your car is not working and you implement it on A chassis, check your collisions around your wheels. Your wheel blocks cannot collide with anything else, or you could have catastrophic results. Alright, the Ford Interceptor, commonly referred to as TFI. He has a lot of A chassis cars that are available publicly to you. There's also the miscellaneous folder. The miscellaneous folder is so essentially anything that is in the body will get welded to the body so that the car stays together. Anything in the miscellaneous folder is something that you do not want to be welded to the body. So if I put anything in the body, it will stay with the car. But if I put anything in the miscellaneous folder, it's just going to fall off unless I weld it manually by using another script. So just for example's sake, Also on a chassis, all of the parts are anchored before you start the game. Okay, so the white part is in the body, and the blue part is in the miscellaneous folder. Watch what happens here. Notice how the blue part fell to the ground, but the white part is still staying with the car. If I drive this car around, the white part's going to stay with the car. So essentially what happens here is that the white part is welded to the car. So it's not going to move anywhere. It's not going to do anything. Boom. And then the blue part that was in the miscellaneous folder is unanchored, and I think I just flung it off the map by walking on it. So, general stuff. Now, the miscellaneous folder is good for things like if you're on a fire truck, you can do ladders and outriggers, things that you do not want to be welded to the body, because otherwise the entire car is going to move as you try and use C-frames or something like that on the parts. Like C-frames, motors, those you want things like those in the miscellaneous folder. So for example, typically your rotator lights, unless you're on a G chassis because they have wonky rotator lights that are able to go in the body. But if you're on regular A chassis, rotator lights go in miscellaneous folder. But you have to weld them manually through another script. Now, typically on these A chassis cars, you're going to have two scripts that are under the drive seat. You're going to have a pickup script and the siren controller. The siren controller is a GUI. So if I wanted to, I could put this in starter GUI. But as you notice, nothing happens. This is what the user sees when they get into the car and get the siren GUI. If you want something that has visible elements, you could absolutely design one of those. But this one does not. The only reason why this car has the GUI in it is so that it can go into the player GUI folder and recognize when the user hits a button. So there's a script inside of the GUI. Nope, not that one. This one. So this is made by TFI. And essentially what this does is it recognizes all the key presses. So it says what the vehicle is by identifying the vehicle in the GUI itself, using a variable so it can find where the car is or like which model it is. There's also the mouse, which is just recognizing the user's key presses. So it says mouse.key down, connect function key. So anytime a key is pressed, and then you're saying which key it is, you're saying that this is the key input parameter here, and then you specify which key it is here. If the key is R, then you're going to do the whale siren, right? If it's playing, then you're going to stop the siren, and if it's not playing, then you're going to play the siren. It's relatively the same function repeating. I mean, if you wanted to, you could make this even more efficient and do else if. Just got to remove this end here. Boom. Now I have two key presses in the same function. Even better. You can do the same thing for the rest of these and all you want. So, and then there's a key down function and a key up function. So this is while the horn is being pressed down, while that key is pressed down, it's going to play the horn sound, and when you lift your finger off of the key, it's going to stop the horn sound. And then the J key to activate the light bar. So this is doing a remote event, which is going from the local client side on the player's GUI to the server side, so that the light bar actually goes and changes for everyone on the server so that you know when your lights are activated. If this is localized entirely and you don't use a remote event to do your light bar, it's only going to appear on your screen and nobody else's, and you don't want that. So here I'm going to do a demo. So essentially what that script does is it does this. Or if I hit the J key, it's going to enable and disable the light bar using the remote event to change a variable inside of the body, which then scripts check the variable and turn on if the variable is true and turn off if the variable is false. So nice and simple. And remember what I said about the horn key. If I push it down, it's going to play the horn. If I lift up, it's going to stop the horn. If I press R and the siren is not playing, it's going to do that. And if it is playing, it's going to do that. Alright, so that's that as far as the GUI goes. The HSE tune has a bunch of stuff in it. Most of the time you're going to mess with the plugins folder. The plugins folder contains all types of local scripts that will expand the functionality of HSE and typically refer to the modular scripts for different inputs and variables that are actually happening with the chassis. Unless you find your own plugin or make your own, you're not really going to be messing with that too frequently. Most of the time it will be preset for you, which will work pretty well. HSE interface, you're not really going to worry about that too much. Very rarely. Initialize, you're only going to need this if you need to weld something that is in the miscellaneous folder. If you need to weld something that's in the miscellaneous folder, then you're going to put another script here that's similar to miscellaneous weld, which will weld it to the car. Alright, so that's the tune. Body is next. There's all types of stuff in body. You're going to find your seats, your headlights, brake lights, turn signals. And each one of these is on a variable that is located within the folder, within the models. So if this value is on, then it's going to trigger the script. It's going to trigger this script here, which if the value is on, then it's going to turn the light on, turn it off, wait a second, turn it off. And if it's not enabled, then turn it off. That's essentially all this script says. And it's doing it this is constantly checking if the value is true. It's constantly running all the time, even if the light is not on. So it's constantly checking, seeing if it's true. If it is true, turn it on, turn it off, and repeat the cycle a bunch of times. And if it's not enabled, then it will just turn it off. So in the body of a emergency vehicle on your free model HSE, you're typically going to find the light bar. The light bar folder is one of the main ones that you're going to mess with. This is where all your scripts for lighting functions are going to be. And remember how I said about the remote event and the on value that is located in, and I said something about the remote event earlier when I was talking about the GUI. It's calling this right here. This is the remote event that it's referring to, and this fires the event on the server side, which changes the value of on to either true or false. So if it's false, then it's going to set this value to true, and if it's true, then it's going to set this value to false. And each one of these scripts is a different lighting function, so while, true, do, while, all the time in the server, it's checking to see if the light bar on value is true, and if it is, it's going to do a flash pattern, and if it's not, it's going to turn it off. And the strobes script is what triggers the remote event. So when you fire the remote event, it triggers this script, which will actually change the value to true and false. So that's what this does. We have a model in here, which is just all the body elements like the coloration, the texture. UV mapping and textures are a whole different thing that really depends on what type of car you're using on a chassis. Once again, miscellaneous folder for anything that you do not want to be welded to the car, for anything that you want a special weld so that you can do like animations and movement and things like that. And wheels. This car in particular has 4 wheels. You can add more if you wanted to. You just have to name and configure them properly. And what I mean by this is that every one of the A chassis wheels has to have 2 models in it. One is called fixed, which is something that you do not want to rotate when the wheels are moving. And parts. These are the parts that actually spin around with the wheel to make it look like it's moving. Typically, you are not going to use the fixed model, but if you have something like brake pads or something within the car tire that would be affixed to the axle of the wheel, that is what you would put in there. So in this case, we have 3 mesh parts that are just making up the wheel design. Really simple and easy. This is just allowing them to rotate when the wheel is in motion. Now, the wheel that you see here is fake. It's not real. The only real wheel is this. You notice that there's a collision box around here. That's because the chassis is actually working on a cylinder, on a sphere. This chassis is only working on a sphere. And you might say, oh, Poke, this is a cylinder. Well, the only reason is because the person who created this added a mesh into this sphere that changes it to a cylinder. But in reality, it looks like this. This is what your wheel looks like on a chassis. This is the part that actually works. This is the part that touches the ground. Anything that is inside of the wheel has to have collisions off. So you notice that this part here, this actual tire, has the can collide disabled. Only the real wheel is going to touch the ground. And that's what needs to be named. Now, when you're configuring the whole point of configuring a chassis is that everything has to be set up properly. It has to be named a certain way. It has to be set up a particular way. So you notice that when this is in this manner, you have your model, which is the overall model. Your drive seat is separate. Your tune. And then your 3 elements of a chassis: body, miscellaneous, and wheels. Within each one of these folders, it doesn't really matter how you set it up. That's up to you, except for wheels. All the wheels, depending on where they're located, have to have a particular name. And in the wheels, you have to have your fixed and part models. Otherwise, it's not going to work. A chassis is going to break, and your car is done. It's not going to work, and you're going to get angry because it's not working, and then wonder why it's not working. But it's really just small errors like that. Everything has to be spelled correctly. Casing is important when you're talking about Roblox and scripts in general. So that is why you're going to run into issues if something's not working. Now, very, very important. If something is not working, go to the View tab at the top, and then click on Output. So let me find it real quick. Yep, right there. Output is going to add something into it's going to add a window into your studio that will give you error reports if something's not working. Look. Red. Red is not good. So lights is not a valid member of workspace pocop124's car.body. So this is saying that something in one of the chassis scripts is not working. They didn't set it up right, whoever made it. And this happens a lot, especially when you pull free models off of the tab, you're going to find red. So if you want to fix this, if it's a big problem, I think you should fix your errors all the time. I don't really like to see red in the output most of the time. But that's really up to you and your scripting abilities. So if you have issues with your scripts or with your car, check the output. Look for red. because it might give you a better idea of where to look for errors and what they might be. Now, there are certain things that you don't have to worry about, like plugin road accessories not working. You know, if you have a plugin and you didn't give it permissions, it's going to come up in Studio, but it will not come up in your actual game. So you don't have to worry about this. So check your output for errors all the time, because that will help you find problems. And do a lot of bug testing, like drive it around, try and mess with it, because that's exactly what the players that play your games are going to do. They're going to try and break your stuff, and you don't want them to break your stuff, so make sure that you check and try and break your own stuff before they do. Because if you break it, then you find an issue, you can fix it, and boom, now you don't have to worry about that issue, and you don't have to worry about them messing up the game severely. But overall, A-Chassis, really simple, really easy to install. Just follow the formatting, and you can literally put it on any truck. Any truck, any car, any vehicle, just as long as you can set it up the way that it needs to be set up for the scripts to work. Simple, easy, clean, done. Let's take a look at the toolbox. What else do we got that I can mess with? Yeah, TFI uploads a lot of very useful mesh cars configured with A-Chassis if you want to take a look at those, get a better idea of how they work. I think the best way to get an idea of how things work is to just look at these models, go through the scripts, try and figure out what's going on, and you'll get a better understanding of what to do when you want to add your own stuff. So this is a 2020 Explorer. It even comes with a UV map, so you can take this image, rip it off of Roblox, and put it into a photo editor, and you can design your own texture, which you can upload as a decal through the Roblox page. And then you set the decal ID to the texture ID of these parts, and boom, you have a new texture for your car. This is a plane? Air France? Wait, it's UV'd, isn't it? And low poly? Interesting. Oh yeah, it's pretty low poly. Yeah, they've imported it so that way there's no interior. Huh. Haven't seen that before. Alright, so what do you guys want to see now? Popular rapper Da Baby predicted COVID? What? All right. Hmm. Is this a new Tahoe? No, it's a slightly older Tahoe. I've seen a lot of 2021 editions going around, but it doesn't look like Vargas has uploaded any. Oh well. Do you think we should do a Phantom Forces game night? I think we should do a Phantom Forces game night. I've been playing the farming game for far too long. I want to try something new that I haven't done in a while. By the way, I'm shit at Phantom Forces, but I still like to have fun inside of like the Discord chat, so I can pull that up too. I'll probably make it a separate stream though. All right, if anybody has a Phantom Forces private server in the SoNY Discord, let me know. Send it in my DMs. I'm getting pinged. Calm down. I might have enough money to get a new private server if we don't have one already. $250 every month. God damn, PF. All right, I'm gonna switch over to a new stream. And we're gonna do a Phantom Forces game night in the SoNY server. I put in an application for the Port Authority. Yeah, that's not open. I don't know how you would have put an application in for something that doesn't have an application right now. All right, I'm going to switch over to another stream, so I'm going to end this one and start a new one. So be sure to give me like a minute to get that set up, and we can get into that. if you have any questions about SoNY or anything like that, you can forward that to the new stream in like 2 minutes. Because I can answer that while I mess with Cookie and Jersey, who are sitting in Game VC. Alright, starting the stream right now.